There is a lovely story of the tenor drum which was lost during the retreat to St. Valery. And it obviously was left somewhere, and the Germans ultimately found it, and it was put away. And after the war, an American unit found this drum somewhere, I think down near Munich, I mean miles and miles away from where it originally had been. And it was decided that it would represent this drum to the 5th, 7th Gordons, because it was actually a 5th, 7th drum. And the 1st Battalion, drums and pipes, and the 5th, 7th drums and pipes actually went down to Munich for a great parade. And the lovely story is told that during this parade, an American officer, the parade obviously went on a bit, and an American officer was heard to say, "I sure as hell hope they don't lose this bloody drum again."
Colin Duncan was a little terrier of a man. He'd played scrum half for the army, and he was that sort of chap. He was commanding the 2nd Camerons when Tobruk was attacked in June 1942. The Tobruk garrison surrendered, but the brigade, 11 Brigade, in which the Camerons were serving at the time with the 2nd 7th Gurkhas and a battalion of the Marathas, held on for another 24 hours. And on the evening of the day after the surrender, the Germans approached with the white flag and said, "Come on, let's be sensible chaps." So Colin Duncan said, "Right, I will surrender tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock. So the Germans realized what was up, but being sporting chaps, they said, "Right, you've got to surrender at 5 o'clock. And Colin Duncan said, "Yes, I will surrender at 5 o'clock in the morning." So away went the Germans, and the word went out to the battalion to start walking towards Egypt, which a lot of them did. But in the morning, there were some left to surrender along with the colonel, amongst them some pipers and a drummer. So Colin formed them up in the road, and they marched off towards the prison camp with the pipes and the drum playing in front. On the way, they were stopped by an officious German captain who tried to order them off the road, and with one blow, Colin Duncan flattened him and laid him on the road unconscious. And this was a terrible thing. To assault an officer of what was called the custodial power was a court-martial offence. Anyway, they marched off to the prisoner of war camp with the pipes playing, and people who were in the camp at the time have told me how they heard the pipes coming over the hill, and then the Camerons arrived, led by Colin Duncan, who of course was due for a court-martial for his terrible offence. But when it came to the ear of General Rommel, he said, "That's the way to treat these officers in the transport or the supply department." He said that no action would be taken against Colonel Duncan. So nothing happened, but that became one of the great incidents of the war as far as the regiments were concerned, Colin Duncan flattening the German.
St. Valery, where the 51st Division went into the bag and were sacrificed to save the British Expeditionary Force, had a lot of Highlanders, including the 1st Battalion Black Watch, which is our regular battalion. 1 year after war broke out, the whole battalion was taken into the bag. And in prison, there was a request that came out of prison, and it was in fact the Red Cross who sent parcels into the prisons in the war, and in one of the parcels was a set of bagpipes. So, the pipers could play their pipes and keep everybody's spirits going. Funnily enough, on roughly the same subject, in one of the officer prison camps, the officers decided to invent a dance, and it's called the Reel of the 51st. Was written by officers of the Highland Division while in prison, and it's danced now in all the Scottish dances. It's a lovely dance, but it was created in prison.